Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail, Fuse Accessories, Elevate Tree Stands, B3 Releases and Broadheads, and Hoyt. Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. That was a dirty job.
That was.
Remember that series on TV called Dirty Jobs?
Mike Rowe.
Yeah, I don't think they ever envisioned planting a food plot as being one of their dirty jobs, but I'm definitely going to need a shower. I don't think that'll go in the bed tonight. We're going to talk about, real quick, this food plot, but then I want to talk about how to hunt the first part of the season. And it's obviously a topic that's coming up. I mean, we're closing in on it now. You're heading out to South Dakota the middle of next week.
Yep.
This coming week, which will probably be after this airs, I'm
Yep.
guessing. Next time we see you, you'll be bow hunting South Dakota.
Yep.
But real quick on this spot, about a couple weeks ago, Ben Sweeney, a friend of mine that has a skid steer and all the attachments for doing this kind of work, came out to the farm, and just kind of an afterthought, we hollowed this thing out. I took the chainsaw and he took the skid steer, and it's pretty rough right now, but it's a pretty cool spot. It fits right into the overall structure of the farm. It's going to be, you know, an important part of, you know, how we hunt this place in the future. These interior plots are so awesome, you know, and now it's seeded. I've got cereal rye down and wintergreens. So that's the Brassica blend from Whitetail Institute. So this should be a good one to follow. You know, we'll follow this through the season, this plot, and then the hunting that we do here. But let's talk early season. Gosh dang, I'm dirty. Wow. So what is your plan? What are you going to do when you get there?
So I think we're going to leave and show up a day and a half early. That way we can have like a whole day of scouting ahead of us, kind of see where the deer are coming out. Because, I mean, if they're like deer here, they're going to be patternable at this time of the year. You know, they're probably going to go in and out into the same box canyon bed in relatively the same spot. So our initial thought is get out there, scout for a good solid day, and then kind of drop a game plan and then revise it based on wind direction and our access.
What date does the season open?
September 1st.
September 1st. Yeah. So in my experience, the September 1st openers are pretty decent, but you get very far past that, and then you get into that dispersal stage.
Yep.
You know, where the bucks have broken up their bachelor groups, and they're starting to spread out into their fall ranges. And you know, when that happens, it's kind of all bets are off. You know, you might see them one day doing something, then the next day they're a quarter of a mile away doing something completely different. The other thing we run into here is the dropping of acorns. You know, and as soon as the acorns drop, then all of those patterns that you've been seeing, you know, deer coming out to alfalfa or, you know, soybean fields or whatever, those all kind of go out the window too. So there's a lot of stuff to keep in mind for a September 1 opener, but, you know, finding the food, or maybe this year the water. Is it dry out there?
From what I've heard, that part of South Dakota's got some of the most moisture it has all, you know, in a long time. And, you know, so it's been a really good year. We have a big irrigated pivot that we're going to be able to hunt, a big hay field, and then the river is going to be right there. So I don't think water is going to be a problem at all.
Yeah, because that's always an issue early season too. It's dry.
Yeah, and there's ponds all over that property and everything.
So you should be fine there. I mean, as far as huntability, you know, if you lack water, then the deer are stressed and they're looking for water. You know, early season is always about food, or in really dry years, water. So the experiences that I've had now, going back to an October 1 opener, which is what we have here in Iowa, I haven't had a whole lot of really great experiences over the years. And I'm not very aggressive when it comes to that. You know, I think from a strategy standpoint, I'm usually not hunting property that other people have access to, or a lot of other people do. So I can afford to be patient and just kind of wait them out, because, you know, the biologists say that the bucks are on their feet for the same amount of time October 3rd as they are September 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say. I mean, I'm not, my trail cameras wouldn't confirm that, but what they say is that the deer are more active back in the timber. So if you're going to hunt them during that quote-unquote October lull, which in my experience is from October 1st until about the 25th,
Mm-hmm.
the first 3 weeks of October have always been really tough. You almost have to go in after them,
Mm-hmm.
and especially on an acorn year. You're not going to find them coming out to ag fields near as much. So there's a risk versus reward that you have to play when you do that.
I think hunting on October cold fronts has been really successful, and a lot of guys have had success on early October cold fronts, especially.
Yeah, I think there's 3. I call them green lights or green flags for early season hunting. One is if you've got a buck on a daylight pattern, like on your trail cameras, then you just got to hunt him right away. I mean, there's no reason to wait. The second one is if you've got October cold front coming, then you should go and hunt, whatever buck you're most interested in, because if he's going to start moving in daylight for a day or two, it's going to be with that passing front. And then the third one is when you get closer to the rut, October 25th on. Then even if you don't have daylight pictures, it's time to start going after them. So I hang back until I get one of those 3 green lights. And I've killed a couple of nice bucks over the years on the farm. I killed one of the biggest deer I've killed on the farm in southern Iowa was in the middle of October, and it was a real warm day. He was the only deer that came out in the field. It was just
Perfect.
a fluke, but that was a real dandy. I had another one I killed on, I think, the 12th or so of October, and he was showing a daylight pattern consistently right on through. That was what triggered me on him. And that other one, that bigger one, it was kind of the same thing, sporadic, but a little bit daylight active. And it was more like, the farmer combined the corn early, and I thought, move the blind in there and give it a try. Well, I got lucky and killed him. That was that big one. And the other one, he was just on more of he was an older deer, just on a daylight pattern. It was weird. You don't get very many. So I guess that's my point. In all the years of hunting mature whitetails, the number of bucks I've seen on daylight patterns in the open, where they're, say reasonably killable without having to go in after them, really, really low. Like maybe 3 or 4, 5. So, for me, the early season is more about if you get that freak that's daylight active, I hunt him. Otherwise, I'm hunting does. Maybe going into a few spots for exploration, places that I don't know much about, sit on a couple oak trees, hoping that something, comes by looking for acorns.
Yep.
But the early season normally for me isn't the time to get aggressive with any of the bucks that I found on camera that I'm excited about. They just aren't coming out in the day. So I got a mosquito that's after
Yeah, I
me.
would imagine this September 1st hunt is going to be a lot of right at last light movement. I mean, looking at the 10-day forecast, it's going to be 85 to 95 degrees, so it's going to be t-shirt hunting and just wait until right at last light probably is when they're going to start moving.
Yeah. So I think, the takeaway, in my opinion, on early season hunting, if you've got a September opener, you're more likely to find action around the food. If not, you could probably look for acorns. I don't know if you're going to have them in your area, but they're going to be eating something.
Yep.
So that's the thing to look for. In those October openers, it gets harder because the deer just tend to get less and less daylight active. At least they're not coming out. They're staying back into their near their bedding areas. If you want to take risks, you can. You can go in. You can hunt them near where they bed, but that does represent that risk of maybe putting a deer off his pattern or out of the area and making him harder to kill later in the season.
Yep.
So I'll try a little bit of it, like I said, but you won't see me in the tree a bunch in early October. Well, good luck, and we will wait to hear your report. Shoot something nice, and don't forget to push the record button.
Yeah.
Are you self-filming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that'll be a good challenge. You're going to be in a tree or on the ground?
In a tree. Just probably hanging hunts most of the time.
Yeah, so you get a chance to try out those new Elevate stands.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be fun. They're really nice for that kind of hunting.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Well, good luck. We'll see you back here in another week for Ethan's update. And remember to always, wait, I better start that again and say it correctly. Okay, so we'll see you right back here again in another week for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always
Dream big.
nailed it.